It began as an ordinary night. On March 8, 2014, Kuala Lumpur International Airport bustled with travelers hurrying through its bright terminals. For most, Flight MH370 was just another red-eye to Beijing, a routine 6-hour journey across the South China Sea. But for 239 people on board, it became a flight that never arrived. And for the world, it ignited one of aviation's greatest mysteries. At the controls was Captain Zaharie Ahmad Shah, a 53-year-old veteran respected by colleagues. Beside him sat First Officer Fariq Abdul Hamid, 27, completing one of his final training flights. At 12:41 a.m., their Boeing 777-200ER lifted into the night sky, twin engines roaring as it climbed through the clouds. In the cabin, life was calm. Families hushed children, business travelers closed laptops, tourists reclined for the night. Among the passengers were people from 15 nations, Chinese students returning home, Malaysian families, Australians, Americans, and others. Nothing suggested the flight would be anything but routine. At 1:19 a.m., as the jet crossed Malaysia's eastern coastline, a calm voice spoke over the radio. "Good night, Malaysian 370. It was the last confirmed transmission from the cockpit. Moments later, the plane's transponder, which broadcast position to radar, went silent. MH370 vanished from air traffic control screens. At first, controllers suspected a glitch. Pilots sometimes lose contact, but this time, communication never returned. Military radar later revealed something shocking. The aircraft had turned sharply west, crossed the Malaysian peninsula, and flew over the Strait of Malacca, the opposite direction of Beijing. Then it vanished again. No distress call, no explanation. Meanwhile, in Beijing, families waiting at the airport grew anxious as flight delayed changed to flight missing. Panic spread. Officials in Kuala Lumpur scrambled. Had it crashed into the sea? Was it hijacked? Had it landed in secret? The first desperate search focused on the South China Sea. Dozens of ships and aircraft scoured the waters. Nothing. No wreckage, no oil slick, not even a seat cushion. Then came the revelation that changed everything. The satellite company Inmarsat revealed faint hourly handshakes from MH370 long after radar contact was lost. These signals suggested the plane had kept flying for nearly 7 hours, ending in the remote southern Indian Ocean, one of the harshest places on Earth. This discovery shattered hopes of survival and shifted the search thousands of miles away. What happened in the cockpit that night? Why did the plane turn back? And why did it continue flying silently into emptiness? The questions began here, after that final radio call, and they have haunted the world ever since. The search begins. Within hours, Malaysia, Vietnam, China, and Singapore launched search missions. Dozens of aircraft and ships combed the South China Sea. The United States Navy joined with a P-8 Poseidon and USS Kidd destroyer. But after days of searching, no trace appeared. Attention then shifted west. Malaysia's military radar showed the aircraft had reversed course. This revelation shocked investigators. The plane had flown hundreds of miles undetected. By March 15th, Inmarsat, a British satellite company, revealed that MH370 had continued sending handshakes to its satellite for nearly 7 hours after radar contact was lost. These faint signals suggested the aircraft had flown deep into the Indian Ocean. The focus of the search shifted thousands of kilometers away. Australia, through the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, ATSB, took the lead in coordinating a massive hunt in the southern Indian Ocean. Despite the largest multinational search effort in aviation history, involving countries like Malaysia, China, Australia, the US, and India, nothing was found in the early weeks. Families clung to hope. Theories of hijacking, secret landings, or hidden bases spread online. But the grim reality set in. The plane had likely ended in one of the most remote stretches of ocean on Earth, expanding the hunt. With the South China Sea ruled out, focus shifted to the vast southern Indian Ocean. Australia, China, and Malaysia deployed search aircraft from Perth, while ships from the US, South Korea, and New Zealand joined. The search zone was immense, millions of square kilometers of ocean. Crews battled fierce weather, 20-meter waves, and isolation. For weeks, satellites picked up possible debris fields, but each turned out to be false alarms. On April 6, 2014, Australian vessel Ocean Shield detected faint underwater pings, possibly from MH370's black boxes. Optimism surged, but as batteries ran out, the signals faded and the trail went cold. By May, attention turned to underwater surveys. The private company Fugro, contracted by the ATSB, began mapping the seabed with sonar. Their work revealed mountains, ridges and trenches never before charted, yet no aircraft. For families, each passing day deepened despair. Governments promised persistence, but the ocean kept its secrets. A global effort, the disappearance united countries in an unprecedented search. Malaysia coordinated politically, while Australia led operations in the southern Indian Ocean. China deployed dozens of vessels. The US offered advanced technology. France provided satellite imagery. Even tiny nations offered resources. The ATSB worked with experts from Boeing, Rolls-Royce and Inmarsat to refine search zones. Each new analysis suggested different crash points, shifting operations further south. Public frustration grew. Critics accused Malaysia of slow communication and confusion in the first days. Families staged protests in Beijing and Kuala Lumpur, demanding answers. Despite the largest and most expensive search in aviation history, stretching across 2 years and costing hundreds of millions, no confirmed wreckage was found by 2016. For the world, MH370 had become more than a tragedy. It was now a symbol of technological limits in an age when global tracking seemed possible. The first wreckage. Hope returned in July 2015 when debris washed ashore on Réunion Island near Madagascar. A barnacle-covered wing fragment called a flaperon was confirmed to be from MH370. Over the following months, more pieces were found along coastlines of Mozambique, Mauritius, South Africa, and Tanzania. Each discovery confirmed the aircraft had ended in the southern Indian Ocean. But the wreckage provided little insight into why or how the flight ended. The black boxes, critical for solving the mystery, remained lost. For families, the fragments were bittersweet. Proof the plane had crashed, but still no closure. For investigators, the debris confirmed drift models, but not the final crash site. The Indian Ocean, vast and unforgiving, still held its secrets. Theories and speculation. With no black boxes, theories multiplied. Some experts suggested a sudden decompression that disabled crew and passengers, leaving the aircraft flying on autopilot until fuel exhaustion. Others believed in deliberate action, perhaps by the captain. Conspiracies flourished, hijacking, secret landings, even military shootdowns. But evidence for these was weak. Investigators, including the ATSB and independent analysts, leaned toward a ghost flight scenario. The plane flew for hours with no one in control before crashing into the Indian Ocean. Still, uncertainty kept families divided between hope and despair. For the public, MH370 became one of the greatest puzzles of modern times. The mystery endures. By 2017, the official search led by Australia, Malaysia, and China was suspended after covering over 120,000 square kilometers, the largest search ever attempted. In 2018, Ocean Infinity, a private company, resumed the hunt using advanced underwater drones. Their no find, no fee agreement with Malaysia offered hope. But after months of scanning, the mission ended with no discoveries. Debate among experts continued. Some argued deliberate pilot action, others insisted on mechanical failure. Conspiracies still thrived online. For families, the absence of answers was devastating. Many demanded the search resume, believing closure would only come with recovery of the wreckage and black boxes. For aviation, MH370 spurred reforms. Today, international rules require real-time aircraft tracking, a legacy of the tragedy. Yet the mystery endures. The human cost. For the families of the 239 passengers and crew, the tragedy is not just about aviation or mystery. It is about fathers, mothers, children, and friends who never returned. Many relatives campaigned tirelessly for answers, forming support groups and pressing governments for action. Their grief was worsened by rumors, false sightings, and conspiracy theories that spread online. For Malaysia Airlines, the disaster was catastrophic. Already struggling financially, the airline suffered reputational damage, staff layoffs, and restructuring. MH370, followed by MH17's tragedy later in 2014, left scars that remain. The human story of MH370 is one of heartbreak, endurance, and unanswered questions. Lessons learned. Though unresolved, MH370 forced global aviation to change. New standards by ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, require aircraft to report positions every 15 minutes with automatic distress tracking. Satellite technology advanced, with companies like Inmarsat and Iridium working on real-time monitoring. Airlines improved crisis communication strategies. The search also mapped vast unknown sections of the Indian Ocean, contributing to oceanography and science in unexpected ways. While the loss was devastating, the legacy reshaped safety in the skies. Years later, MH370 remains more than an unsolved case. It is a legend. A modern aircraft, vanishing in the digital age, continues to defy explanation. For families, the search for truth goes on. For investigators, the mystery challenges science and technology. For the world, MH370 is a haunting reminder of our vulnerability. The companies, governments, and crews that searched, Malaysia Airlines, Inmarsat, ATSB, Fugro, Ocean Infinity, and dozens of nations, left no doubt about human determination. Yet the ocean kept its secret. MH370 is no longer just a flight number. It is a question without an answer, perhaps the greatest mystery in aviation history.